Credit card debt. It's getting more and more out of control as time goes on, guys. People keep on getting into credit card debt. So let's break it down.
There are so many young adults who are in debt. It's crazy. Like, the amount of us who are in debt is insane. I heard somebody said they were $75,000 in debt under the age of 25. Like, what are you doing? Like, that can't all be from school. That can't all be from student loans, is it? Like, some of that got to be from credit cards or something. And who giving you these credit cards? I can't even get a credit card like that. Like, I could barely get a credit card. Like, I mean, I haven't tried to get one in a long time, but I don't think I would get a $75,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on? And this just proves my point to, like, there's some young people that I know, right? They're in college and they be traveling. They be having the time of their life. And I know their parents don't have it like that to be splurging on them while they're in college. And I always wonder, like, if you don't have a job, how is you traveling the world? Like, what are you traveling the world off of? Because, I mean, I could go travel the world, but I'm not going to do that all the time. Like, but you're doing it all the time. Like, and you say you don't have no money. Like, what are we doing? Where are you getting the money from? Are you selling a little tail? What's going on? Is it a loan? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, where are these people getting their money from? You're 22 years old. You don't have a job. You're in college. Your parents don't have much money, right? So your parents aren't giving you the money. Who's giving you the money? Well, the credit card companies. Chase, Wells Fargo, right? You name it. Bank of America. They're the ones supplying you with your happiness today, but you're going to regret it in the future because, guys, you're traveling, you're having fun, you're throwing it on credit cards, right? Racking up the debt, but you don't realize, or maybe you do realize and you don't give a crap, which is even worse, but that interest is going to pile up, and when you graduate college, when you get a job, right, start making money, and on top of that, you have all the other debt, student loans, car loan, whatever. Now you have all this credit card debt. You are going to be in a terrible position. You won't be able to invest. You won't be able to get to retirement one day. So don't just travel because you can on a credit card, because you saw your rich friend with the rich parents, right? Travel every season, during college. Delay gratification. Pay your vacations with cash, guys. If you can't go and actually afford it, don't travel yet. Don't do it.
I have a question. How much credit card debt are you in? Because for context, I'm 26. I've been working since 17, paying for my own shit, moved out at 18, have been independent ever since. And I have $10,000 worth of credit card debt. And I will be the first to admit that I'm not perfect. I've definitely paid off medical bills and like emergency vet visits and things on my credit card, but I've also bought a lot of dumb shit. But it's like people my age have $55,000 worth of credit card debt. Do you see how my eye's twitching? That shit stresses me out. Like, $55,000 is my take-home salary from my last job. Like, I think I'm just morbidly curious on, like, what gets you to the point of $55,000 worth of credit card debt? Also, who gave you $55,000 worth of credit in general? Like, not to mention, my credit usage, way high. Like 90-something%. So my interest rates, 30%. Like, the interest would make me want to throw up.
So right off the bat, guys, credit card companies, they're pretty predatory, right? They're going to give you a huge credit line, knowing that most people in their late teens, early 20s, all of their 20s, quite frankly, a lot of people in their 20s in general are just going to rack it up, man. And guess what? The more you spend on a credit card and you don't pay it off, the more interest the bank makes, or the credit card company makes, right? So, yeah, and one thing I want to comment on is her credit utilization rate, 90%. Yeah, guys, that's way too high. 30% or less is where you want to be for your credit utilization. And if you don't know what that is, let's say you have a $10,000 credit line. To keep it simple, you don't really ever want to go over $3,000 on that credit card, right? If you hit $3,000, $4,000 one month, all right, fine, pay it all off. If you're just racking up $7,500, $8,000, $9,000 of credit card debt on a $10,000 credit card and you don't pay it off, your utilization is too high, guess what? Your credit score is going to tank. That's number one. So, yeah, I mean, it's just the reality. Most people in their early 20s, in their 20s in general, and their teens especially, they don't know how to manage money. They keep spending. That is how they get to $50,000, $60,000 of credit card debt, which that is just a ridiculous number, man. Unbelievable.
As of today, I am $8,107 in credit card debt, not including student loans, but we're going to ignore that for a little bit longer, and I do not like it. So my goal this week and also subsequent weeks is to really grind it out and get this shit paid off. The goal is to make an extra $1,000 a week with Instacart, which would be $142 a day, so we'll see about that. But with the holidays and stuff, I feel like that's pretty doable. So I'm at Kroger, I have a Pepsi, I have a bagel, oops, added $1.89. I accepted my first order at 12:12 and delivered it about an hour later for $14. So slow start. Part of that was related to me dropping the eggs at checkout. For those doing the math, I would need to do 10 of those orders a day for 10 hours a day for 8 weeks straight in order to meet my goal, which is not going to happen. So I kind of need to change something, but unfortunately I'm at the mercy of Instacart with my orders because another hour later, I delivered my second order for $17, raising my total to $31.
So yeah, we can cut this one off here, guys. She's in credit card debt about what, $7,000, $8,000, which honestly isn't that much in the grand scheme of things. That's totally doable in terms of paying off. And I like this video because she's doing side hustles to pay off her debt. That is key. That is key because a lot of time people that are in credit card debt, guess what? They don't make much money at their day job or whatever they do for a living. That is how they got into debt in the first place. Well, one of the reasons why. Of course, they spend too much money. They don't have a budget, most people, but they also don't make enough money. So if you don't make enough money at your day job, you have your bills that you have to pay every month, and you have credit card debt from previous months, right, that you still have to pay, you're behind on, it's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to do all that unless you make more money at your day job or you start a business or a side hustle. So I commend her for that. Make it clear in your mind that you need to get a side hustle if you don't make enough money at your day job so you can throw as much money at your debt. Kudos to her for that. And Instacart's tough. I used to do it like 8-9 years ago for my side hustle. You know, when I was in college, I used to do it a little bit, couple hours, a week, and it was a grind. It really was. And man, making $150 a day just from Instacart on top of having a job, yeah, probably very difficult to do that, but she's on the right path for sure.
So I am in $20,000 worth of credit card debt, and I'm only 22, and I'm kind of screwed because the reason that I put myself into $20,000 worth of debt was for Airbnb arbitrage. Now the crazy part is I actually made over $20,000 just last month. That is November. And basically paid off my entire credit card bill. Now here's the thing, a bunch of people will tell you that credit cards are bad, buying courses are bad, investing in yourself is bad. And whenever I tell them that, I always show them the amount of debt that I was in. I started this business a year and a half ago when I was a little over 19. And I show them how as long as you do market research, you can pay it off. Now for me, I decided to go on the Airbnb arbitrage route. I put all of my expenses on a business credit card, and as you can see, it paid itself off. I am now at 6 Airbnbs that cash flow me at least 1 to 1.5K every month per property. So on a slow month, I'll literally make 6K easy. And at the peak, I'm making upwards of $18,000, $20,000, $24,000. So do what you will with that information. I am also having a completely free class.
So yeah, I didn't realize this was a pitch for Airbnb arbitrage. And wait a second, what the heck is Airbnb arbitrage anyway? Let me actually look this up. Airbnb arbitrage. So is this when you rent out other people's houses and then you kind of flip it? Wait, hold on a second. Airbnb arbitrage involves renting a property on a long-term lease and then subletting it for short-term stays, typically through platforms like Airbnb. Okay, so you rent a property, right? Okay, that makes sense. I've heard of this before. I just forgot about it. So you rent a property and then you just sublet it for short-term stays. I don't know if that's legal in many states, guys, and honestly, it depends on your rental agreement. I don't know. This probably is not, legal in certain areas, and if I was renting out my house to somebody, I probably wouldn't want them to do Airbnb arbitrage. But this is not really, I didn't realize this was a pitch for Airbnb arbitrage, but be careful with this, man. This guy got into $20K of debt doing this. Obviously, he paid it off. But what happens if you can't rent out these Airbnb rentals short term, right? What if nobody wants to stay there? What if you can't get clients, right? You're going to be screwed. So be careful with these new ways to make money online, drop shipping. A lot of this stuff's been around for years, but be careful. A lot of people get swindled by other people online, like, oh, do this, do that, buy this course, do this strategy to make quick money like that. And that could get you in credit card debt right there. That could get you in credit card debt. And you could be a business-minded individual, somebody that is driven, but you can get sucked into some pretty bad business models. Not saying Airbnb arbitrage is bad, but Airbnb in general has been kind of declining. Maybe there's still opportunity there with Airbnb arbitrage, but yeah, I'd be careful with that. But that was interesting to look at. Let's carry on here.
My husband and I are in the process of paying down $55,000 worth of credit card debt, and I want your guys' thoughts on what we should do next. We haven't done any sort of consolidation loan, a HELOC, nothing like that, because when we first started looking at all of this in July of last year, we didn't qualify. Our debt to income is way too high. However, now that we've started paying down some of that, we are starting to get offers, and we are considering taking one. Now, we don't have like a set one that we're looking at or anything. We're just starting to come around to the idea. I originally said I didn't want to do any kind of balance transfer because it doesn't make sense for us to open up a new card to pay down the credit card debt, especially since we're going to be closing them anyways. However, I'm like, if we're going to be closing them anyways, I don't really care about the having the extra card, I guess, as long as we're closing it, once we're done paying off debt. So I don't know. I don't think that we will still qualify for a HELOC, but if we could get a credit card offer for 0% for 15 or 18 months is what they usually are. And that way we could focus just on one card. Because even my American Express card that I'm working on paying down, it's still getting $75 a month in interest, which is a lot of money when you could then apply that amount towards the principal. So would you guys be willing to open up another credit card? And for those of you who are going to say just use one of the cards you've paid off, we don't have any offers on those cards, or else we would have already done a balance transfer, because that's what I've been waiting for. But we're not getting offers on those cards. So do I look at doing a balance transfer, or is that just the dumbest idea and I need to just continue doing the snowball method? Let me know what you think.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of doing balance transfers, opening up new cards at 0%, because, a lot of people that do that balance transfer, they pay off that card, they just go right back to racking up the old cards, right? So it's I don't know. Do you have financial discipline? Clearly, I mean, her and her husband probably don't, considering they're at $60K credit card debt. So right now they might be super motivated. They might want to pay this off, do a balance transfer, yada, yada, yada. But what happens in a year or two, right? I don't know. Things might change. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I personally, man, snowball method, that's what I would just keep doing.
If somebody has multiple credit cards, would you have them start paying off the highest interest first or the smallest dollar amount first?
This is controversial, I know. Highest interest rate first, 100%. I don't care what the balance of the card is, because your highest interest rate is where you're paying the most money in interest, and I don't want you to have to pay more than you need to. I know, like, I used to listen to Dave Ramsey for a while when I first tried to get out of debt myself, and I felt like a lot of it just did not fit for me. And this was one of those things where it's like the smallest balance first didn't make sense for me, even though I'm a big dopamine hit person. Like, I want those quick wins, but I don't know, there's something about having quick wins versus actually saving real money that just rubs me the wrong way. I don't understand the idea of paying the small balance first if I'm not, at the end of the day, saving the most amount of money.
So yeah, I'm with her 100%. If I was in a bunch of credit card debt, which I'm not, thank God, I haven't been in credit card debt really at all in my life. Only the, monthly amount that I'm, using and then paying off at the end of the month. But if I was in a bunch of credit card debt sprinkled across a bunch of, credit cards, I would go with the high interest rate first, right? First of all, I would stop spending money on credit cards because there's no point in paying off high interest debt while, continuing to use the card. That doesn't make sense at all, right? So I would focus on the high interest debt first. I would do that, but for a lot of people, guys, I would say the opposite works. Works better. Going with the smaller debt first, right? Getting those small wins, like she was saying, and then getting to the bigger cards, the ones with higher balances. That probably works for most people because most people, they got into debt in the first place, not understanding numbers. So getting out of debt, why does it matter if, this one has a bit more interest than this one, right? Just start paying off the small balances first and then just don't go back into debt. Easier said than done, but that is what I would do, and that's just my advice at the end of the day, guys. So at this point in 2025, people are still struggling. And the reality is people will always struggle with credit card debt. That's the reality. For as long as humans exist, there's going to be credit card debt. There's going to be financial problems, bad spending habits. It's just how the cookie crumbles, guys. Shout out to Bruce Almighty. So I don't know where that came from. But yeah, so what you guys have to realize is you have to make a budget, spend less money than you make. I know it's hard in this economy with this inflation, with how much crap costs these days. But if you make a budget, spend less than you make, and you pay off your credit card every month, if you have a credit card, you're never going to be in debt. You're never going to be in debt. But if only it was that easy. Really, it comes down to controlling your spending, controlling your impulses. If you want to get lunch every day out and that's going to get you into debt and you can't pay it off, you can't do that. You can't pay or you can't eat out every day. Maybe limit it to once a week, right? You have to be able to create some self-discipline with your money. And again, it all comes down to the budget and spending less than you make. That's it. That's it, guys. I hope you all found value in this video. Make sure to subscribe for more content as we're almost at 1,000 subs on this channel. And with that being said, guys, cheers. I'll catch you in the next one.